Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Hotline Miami 2, wrong number. It's of course the sequel to the little slice of ultra-violence that we received from Dennaton Games, and it was originally planned, to some degree, to actually be DLC and was expanded out to a full sequel experience. The question is, does it differentiate itself from the original? Did it even need to do so in the first place? And is it worthy of your time? Well, I'm going to jump around a couple of different levels to show you some of the variety here. I'm also going to skip all introductions, which means that we skip all of the story spoilers, because the story is completely out there and is really worth paying attention to, and I'd rather not ruin it for you. So, Hotline Miami 2, let's just get right into it. You probably know what to expect from this, I would imagine, if you paid any attention to the original. If you didn't, then why? Because the original is quite the thing. At Act 3 right now, after about 4 or 5 hours of play, give or take, which I'm told is about halfway or so through the game. Let's play this one, because this is a very interesting level indeed. Very unusual. I'm going to skip the intro. And the variety involved within Hotline Miami 2, I think, is exemplified by a level like this. Alright, let's go with a shotgun here. So, in this particular level, you seem to actually be going through what appears to be like the Viet Cong, or something along those lines. I don't really know what's going on with that, but you're attacking stuff on an army base, which is... It's like not in Miami at all. It's like, what the hell is going on? It's hard to say. He doesn't actually get knocked over by the door. That is useful information to have. Useful indeed. I should probably use lock-on more than I do. I actually rarely ever use lock-on. I almost always just use the manual targeting. Oh, that's glass. I keep forgetting that. Yes, you might... You know, you generally... Not a particularly good idea to mess with that. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what I like to see. So this level is very different to what you, I imagine, are expecting from a Hotline Miami game. It's like, where's the masks? Where's all the constant weapon changing as you run out of ammunition? Well, in this level, that's actually not the case. That's not what happens at all. What actually happens is me consistently messing it up and dying a lot. Oh, I knocked them both out with the door and then got killed. But it was good. Come on, you gotta admit that was pretty good, right? Yes, knocking people out with the door is something you can do. But every now and again, you're going to get a level like this, which uses the same sort of systems from Hotline Miami, but it puts a bit of a twist on it. And this is going to be my primary counter-argument to people that say it is just more of the same. And in some ways it is, and in some ways it very, very clearly is not. Oh, yes. Don't believe I pulled that off. Oh, God! Quick, quick, quick. Oh. It's, reload some ammunition here. You might be wondering, it's like, hang on a minute, you've got ammo? Only on this level. This is non-standard, as I said before. This is not how the game usually works. But the fact that they have these non-standard levels is one of the key counterpoints that I've got to saying, hey, yeah, it's just more Hotline Miami. In some ways, it is more. And I would argue, why would you want it not to be? Because Hotline Miami is... I'm actually going to burn all my ammunition here, because I think I can actually grab some more from this crate. There we go. Oh, only 4 rounds. Okay, that may have been a mistake. Never mind. You can't actually pick up other weapons on this particular level, which is an intriguing little spin on things. Yeah, you've got your standard Hotline Miami levels where you pick your mask, and then you go and you murder everything on the floor. That's how it works, and that's kind of how Hotline Miami was always expected to work by people that have played it before. I can't imagine anyone would be particularly surprised by that. But that's not all of what Hotline Miami 2 has to offer, because every now and again you will get a level like this. And it won't just be that either. It's like, hey, okay, so there's a gimmick level every once in a while. No, it's not just that. Because what they've done as well is they've taken the mask system from the original. They've reduced the number of masks, but they have changed a lot of the roles around to the point where the masks are fundamentally different from each other. For instance, there's a mask that lets you play 2 characters at once. One has a chainsaw, the other has any kind of firearm you can actually get your ugly little mitts on. Oh, we managed it. Get him. Oh, don't want to die to this guy. Oh, I keep forgetting you can't kill him with melee. This is a tricky level. I've got to save as much ammunition as humanly possible. Or I could burn all my ammunition in here and then just pick up more. Or die. That works too. there's another mask which allows you to dodge roll, which sounds kind of generic, right? Yeah, but think about in Hotline Miami, would dodge rolling be a big deal? Absolutely. You can not only roll into doors and use it to knock people out, but you can also roll under enemy fire, which is a freaking huge deal. I'm going to jump out of this level and show you just another one so that we can not get stuck, because this is probably going to take me a while to figure out fully with the limited ammunition. But you see how different that level was? Now, the whole idea is you have such limited ammunition, and then you've got on your right mouse button, you've got your knife attack, so you're playing a soldier, essentially you're playing Rambo. And the entire level is something of a puzzle involving where best to use your ammunition. Because there are some things you're going to have to kill with a gun. Because there's no way you're going to be able to kill it with a knife. Like the larger soldiers, you can't kill them with the knives. So you've got to be very careful and you've got to plan it out. It's strategic. I think people that say Hotline Miami is just mindless ultraviolence completely miss the point of what the game is. As the game is really, if you were to boil it down and be maybe a little bit pretentious, as I have a tendency of being from time to time, it's a real-time violence puzzler, in which every decision, the split second, matters. And yes, there's skill involved. There's lots of skill involved. And that's one of the key parts of Hotline Miami. That's why it's so interesting. Because everything dies in one hit, including you. So it's just this consistent, adrenaline-fueled, fantastic piece of ultra-violence that you get to play from time to time. Let's see if we can get a one with a mask on, shall we? Oh, yeah, we should do that one. I think it's the last... Was it the last scene? I can't remember. I did a lot of scenes here. I think it was probably this one. Okay. Because I think I get to pick the mask on this. And I'll show you one of the interesting ones. And in many ways, of course, the game is fairly similar to the original, as I said. If you were to be very kind of basic about it, you could say, yeah, absolutely. You're going to experience the same sort of thing that you experience in Hotline Miami. You pick your mask. Oh, I could play the bear on this one, but we're going to go with Alex and Ash. This is actually two characters in one here. And you kill everything on the floor. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, like, if you were to look at the game that way, which is an entirely fair way of looking at it, you got to say, well, does it do that well? And the answer is hell yes. I mean, it does it practically perfectly in every way, which is probably something you should pay attention to, because you're looking for a good video game, right? I should certainly hope so. Well, Hotline Miami was a fantastic video game in its own right. I mean, you could argue that outside of the swaying in Hotline Miami, which is actually seems to have been reduced a little bit this time around, because I'm not feeling the same motion sickness that I got from the original game, the game was practically perfect in its scope. It was a short 3 to 4 hour slice of ultraviolence, which was very, very nicely put together, with a phenomenal soundtrack. And this is more of that, but the tweaks are subtle and yet influential enough to really make it feel like a sequel, which to some people is going to matter. As you can also see, apparently the character has actually bugged out, which is not ideal. Let's just rewind here. Try that again. Skip through this. Here we go. And then we can pick a character again and start. Was there really anything else you could have done with Hotline Miami? Did the formula warrant any major sweeping changes? And the answer is, at least in my opinion, no. It really didn't, because it was pretty damn good at what it did in the first place. And that's Hotline Miami 2, but even after that, you've got variety in the levels, which keeps you interested. Because I think the fear when I say, hey, the game length has been extended significantly, in the minds of some people is going to be, oh god, does it outstay its welcome? Not so far it doesn't. I mean, this is obviously a first impressions series, as you're well aware, but not so far. Every level I've been into has given me some sort of twist. And yeah, there's a lot of levels like this, but because of the mask variety, that's not a bad thing. You get to try out all sorts of different things. I'll show you the bear mask, which allows you to dual-wield weapons and actually target them in 2 separate directions. It's great that they decided to reduce the number of masks and make each mask really matter in some way. I am absolutely a fan of them doing that. I think that was the right call, without a shadow of a doubt. Well, I don't have a weapon on my main guy, but I do still have that chainsaw, so let's see what we can find here. Oh, and of course, that ultra-violence is still there. And as a result, it's not really a game for the squeamish. Has Hotline Miami ever been? Well, no, of course not. It absolutely has not. But again, that's part of its strength, because there aren't actually that many games that go this full-on for the ultra-violence. It is shockingly violent in many ways, but simultaneously has that kind of charming art style where you think, you know what, this could have been an NES game. It's like, well, if not for all of the viscera all over the floor, perhaps. Although, the NES did have its fair share of violent stuff. Splatterhouse is probably about as violent. Admittedly not with real human beings. Well, I say real, pixelated 8-bit human beings, you get the idea. Bust in here, just chainsaw everybody. And there we go. Whatever works, frankly. Whatever works. There we go. I thought there was another gun here. I was evidently mistaken. There we go. We picked it up. We still lost somebody anyway. It's still as challenging as it always was. It's still as shocking as it always was. And if we talk a little bit about the story as well, there's some pretty dark moments. A lot of people got up in arms about the movie basically acted sexual assault. You can actually turn that off. There is an option to turn off scenes which allude to sexual assault. So far, the only one I've seen is that one. There may be others in the game. I've only ever seen that one, though. At least up to this point, at any rate. God damn it, I keep screwing this up. But it's good that the option's there, because ultimately, like, if you're going to talk about something which is a real psychological trigger, then obviously rape survivors would perhaps prefer that that was not there. So I'm cool that they put a toggle in there. That's fine. I think that's a good solution, rather than censoring it, because ultimately, it is a grimy, violent, and extremely dark game. And compromising that doesn't really make a huge degree of sense. Offer an option. Because, hey, that's the wonder of video games, right? You can actually offer an option. It is customizable in many ways. That's great. So, I don't have a problem with that option being there. But outside of that, the story intrigues me. I don't know what's real half the time in this story, and that's fantastic. I don't know what is the crazed delusion of a madman and what's actually happening, which is kind of wonderful in its own way, because it really intrigues me as to what's going to happen next. I just don't know. Like, the game is full of the unexpected. And that in itself is fantastic. And even if it weren't, the fact of the matter is this game is carried by its moment-to-moment gameplay. When I call it an adrenaline rush, that's not a cliche. This is an adrenaline-fueled game in the most real of ways. And it's simply because of just how fast everything happens. It's split-second, adrenaline-fueled decision-making. And when you execute it properly, it's one of the most satisfying feelings you'll ever have in video games. It's the same thing that people said about Hotline Miami 1. And it's replicated so very well in Hotline Miami 2. Yes, of course, you know, it's pretty much the same thing for the most part. But ultimately, people wanted more Hotline Miami. They were actually... we can't leave before we actually kill this guy, so I'll have to do that. They wanted more Hotline Miami. It was a fairly short experience. It was almost like an ultra-violent Portal. It was like, here's a slice of what Hotline Miami potentially has to offer. We're just going to skip through this bit here. Maybe not this bit, because, hey, this is, in many ways, also what Hotline Miami is all about. This seems like perhaps the apex of what Hotline Miami can achieve without major mechanical changes to its formula. Outside of the minor pathfinding bugs that seem to happen, as you probably noticed, I also had a mission objective item get stuck in a wall at one point. That's something that required me to restart the entire level. Outside of some minor bugs, and for some reason the fact that it refuses, I don't know why, to respect my choice of resolution. I'm currently recording this in far too high a resolution, actually downscaling it, because for some stupid reason the game just doesn't want to actually set the resolution properly. Outside of that, it's very hard to criticize the gameplay of Hotline Miami. I mean, it is practically perfect. Inside what it actually does. That's perhaps the most important thing to note. It's practically perfect inside of what it's attempting to achieve. And there's not really much further it can go without making the same game again, without making huge changes to the formula. Alright, let's go with the bear. We get 2 machine guns with this guy. I've never actually tried him, so this actually could be pretty fun. Let's see how he plays. But he plays completely differently. He's also a big target, I noticed, which is probably something which will affect the gameplay significantly. I don't believe he even has a melee attack, so we're dealing with this. I wonder if you can even drop these weapons. Ah, okay, so it takes a little bit of time to spread your arms out. Okay, executing this is actually trickier than I imagined it would be. But you can do it. There you go. Nice. There's a technique to that. You see what I mean? About the masks completely changing the gameplay this time around? Such a big deal. Offering so many different playstyles, and of course offering replayability as a direct... Ow. as a direct result of that. What a great idea. Best way to do it. Best possible way. Just saying, hey, you know, this... We do offer more than just a level pack for Hotline Miami here. This is a new game. And it is so damn good at what it does. It really, truly is. I'd love to show you the editor, but unfortunately they actually took the level editor out in the last patch of the review build. I assume because it wasn't done. I couldn't even make it work the last time I tried it. I need to stop screwing this up. I couldn't even make it work, so I assume that probably has a great deal to do with it. It just wasn't working. I'm hoping it'll work for launch, because, I mean, this game is out pretty much right now, so hopefully they've got that going. If not, they're going to have to patch that in. But hey, if you enjoyed the original Hotline Miami, there's no way in a million years you shouldn't be I keep forgetting about that guy. There's no way in a million years you shouldn't be considering picking this one up, because it is just Hotline Miami made better. It's Hotline Miami pretty much perfected in almost every way that I can imagine. It's exactly what I would have wanted out of a Hotline Miami sequel. No real doubt about that. I mean, what more can you possibly ask for other than more Hotline Miami done better? And the soundtrack, man, just listen to this. It's chock full of great tunes. It really, truly is. I don't have a lot else to say about it, really. I just want to go and play some more of it, if you don't mind. You're getting in the way of me playing the other levels and actually figuring out how to beat that Rambo level. There's a lot to like here, if you like Hotline Miami's particular brand of one-hit kill ultra-violence. If you're, of course, of the squeamish nature, then you're probably not going to want to play it. But frankly, did you expect them to tone things down rather than ramp things up? Foolish assertion, I think, if you did. They've taken it to the place that I think it was always meant to be. First time around was a bit of a test run for what the game could have been. And Hotline Miami 2 is the execution of that particular desire. And it's so, so very well put together. It's so, so very well executed. It's a masterclass in high-octane, adrenaline-fueled, moment-to-moment gameplay. There are very few games that stand on the same level as Hotline Miami in that regard. And that needs to be respected. And yes, it's entirely fine to have a grimy game, a dirty game, a violent game, an unpleasant game, a game that makes you question what exactly you're doing. That's fine. A lot of people aren't even going to be affected by that, because, hey, that's just the nature of video games. Everyone's affected in different ways. Some people are just going to view it as a shoot-'em-up, and that's also fine. Games like this are open to interpretation. But ultimately, if the film world can have their Pulp Fictions, their Kill Bills, then so can we. And we can have it done in such a fine way that tells a story through this incredible action-packed gameplay that demands perfection at every possible opportunity from you. And you're going to give it to him. You're going to respect its desire to do that, because that's why this game is so goddamn fun. Dying over and over is fine, because, hey, you get to just do it again, slightly better this time around. And there's a lot of satisfaction to be had in that. Oh, yeah. Plenty of it. An absolutely brutal slice of ultra-violence. Perfected at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Very, very few complaints indeed about Hotline Miami 2. If you were looking for something completely different, this isn't it. If you enjoyed the original, I have no hesitation in recommending this game to you at full price, on launch, without any qualms. It is that damn good. Absolutely phenomenal. Hotline Miami 2, ladies and gentlemen. It's available on Axiom Esports sponsor GOG.com, DRM free, as well as on Steam for $15 or your regional equivalent. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching. And I'm gonna go beat that level now. I'll see you next time.